All right, we are live. So this is the Khufu's Pyramid demo, and we're just gonna.
Is each person going to do a question?
I think we can all just take it
Okay.
kind of like a movie commentary. There goes Pam.
The year is
We'll let her do her
2535
intro.
BCE, and we will be your AI companion for this expedition.
All
Are you
right,
ready? We are
all right. Um, so yeah, I think people can just take it, and we can anybody who wants. We did switch to the mouse-based controls instead of the Xbox controls for the demo, so that we can point with the mouse cursor at things because that shows up in the screen grab software. So yeah, I'm gonna turn the music down just a little bit, and then we can just kind of talk about how we feel about each question in the course of our project. And I guess I'll just
Can
kind
I
of
say
move
one
around.
thing? I
Yeah,
know
please
this
go
is
for it.
busy, so maybe she can talk about it more. But I felt like the music really set the emotional theme
Hmm.
for our game. And so it was kind of, you're exploring something, you don't know
Whoops.
what it is. It's kind of scary, but there's an intensity there. And I thought she did a really good job of capturing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say through working with music, I played with a couple different softwares and different tunes and feels for what we really wanted this exploration to feel like. And once I got this nice little beat down, I felt like everything kind of came together. Like the Pam voiceover came together, the announcements, the descriptions, and I feel like it really, like I noticed when people were reviewing our project and looking at it at the expo, like they were stunned by the music once we turned it up and they could feel it. It really adds to like the immersion of it. I think it came out really well.
Yeah, and another thing that should be mentioned is that we actually had a soundtrack for the main menu, the loading screen, but we didn't. That was a stretch goal that we didn't quite get to it. Speaking to the first question, we definitely hit our minimum for success, but there were things that everybody I think would have preferred to add if we had more time. Um, our main goal was just an environment that people could explore,
Mm-hmm.
and so I'd say that was soundly achieved. Um,
Yeah, I would have liked to have noises for interactions and stuff as one of our reach goals, but I think it's solid. That's where it is.
is that? Yeah.
And
I had
it's
challenges.
oh, no, go ahead.
I had quite a few challenges with getting my code to work with the Xbox controller. So that
Hmm.
was one of my major challenges.
The biggest surprise challenge I faced, it was so basic, but it took me forever to figure out. The models I made slash altered in SketchUp were gigantic when I imported them into Unity. And so it wouldn't put them in the scene, it would put them like thousands of feet away from the scene. And it wouldn't let me move them until I changed the size. But that was like a weekend that it took me to figure that out.
I think there was also
Oh, go ahead.
go ahead. There was an unexpected surprise that turned out really well, which was the jumping part. I think because
Oh, sorry, hot corners. Ugh.
it uh, it gave like a physical challenge too. So they were having to do things with their hands that was challenging them physically, and I
Yeah,
think it made it like even more immersive in that way.
yeah, that was really unexpected, and this part especially. And speaking to the models, I there were a lot of challenges that I never quite overcame. Like, so, modeling a scene was just not as easy um, as I thought it might be. I mean, I'm sure that the graphic artists of, yesteryear, like 15 years ago, would want to punch me in the face for saying that because this is with no training essentially. Well, with one semester's worth of training, I threw together a model that would have taken ages and like raw GL, but um, a lot of, you can see things like there's the backface culling is helpful for processing, but it results in seeing through collision layer or through meshes sometimes. Um, and I know that some of that, like with this right here, that you could probably fix by shrinking the collision layer for the first person player, um, or moving the camera back. Maybe expanding the collision layer, actually moving the camera back. But anyways, yeah, moving the scene around and creating the environment was, I don't know. Aside from Git, that was probably one of the bigger team challenges. Is the madness with Git. But for me, the modeling, that was the biggest learning curve.
But I think that all our little challenges that we had, like in with the tomb and the jumps, like for the kids that were using our demo, like that made it that much more fun for them. So although they were challenges for us, it really added to the experience of the user of like, okay, like I know there's this glitch and I can try and find it and go experience this.
Yeah, I actually meant to, I totally got sidetracked. Yeah, this glitch down here where you could jump through the world, that ended up being kind of one of the highlights of this demo. And also speaking to the ambiance and the music and everything, there were at least a couple kids who didn't want to go past this hall because it was just a little bit scary and mysterious. And I think the music played a big part of that. The fact that you could fall through the world played a big part of that. But yeah, this was kind of a lot of people wanted to do this. You know, as soon as somebody did it by mistake and other people saw, they're like, oh, well, you can fall through here, and then if you can do this, then you get to fall in VR, boop, and then land back in the world, and that was
I remember the
all the
first
rage.
kid that hit that was like, no way, this is so cool.
And it was kind of cool too because we're supposed to be time travelers, and so it gives you the sense that there's some sort of strange space-time stuff going on outside of this pyramid, which I think gave it like a really cool element.
Yeah, they really didn't look at it in terms of like a glitch. It's not. I didn't notice anybody pointing out like, you know, they almost just disregarded me when I said it was a very much work in progress. They kind of just wanted to experience the scene. Not everybody, but some people like this room just because of the scale that it imparted in Oculus. It felt really tall as opposed to some of the other rooms. There's some mesh work that was not perfect there.
We saw a lot of people like wobbling as they were going through the smaller crawl spaces, which I know we originally had talked about, like maybe we should have made the tunnels a little bit wider or like different things like that, but it really added to the feeling of being within a pyramid, especially in the young ones viewing our expo. Like I saw them wobbling and kind of scrunching up to get through tunnels and going through the jump and reaching for, you know, the tomb that we weren't originally going to go in.
And one of the most amazing parts, I thought, is that there's a little bit of a glitch where you can go through the sarcophagus, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
And then you find the mummy. And we had about 2 or 3 little girls reaching their hands out trying to touch the mummy, which seemed like a really nice...
Do you guys remember how it was done?
Yeah, you go through the back.
Maybe like the other end, yeah, down there, and then kind of turn and come at it from an angle. Like, yeah.
I probably should have just got the Xbox controller. I see what you mean, though.
It's weird. It was, you could go like...
With the Xbox controller, it was so easy to jump right in.
So, unfortunately, we've fixed a few things, and that may have taken away our fun glitch. Anyways. There is a mummy in there, and there are things all over the place. These were really cool. I mean, these guys were, you know, some of the kids especially. I really, watching the kids with this was my favorite because, you know, I think going back to what we were talking about in the beginning of the semester, like a perfect interface is something that's pure, that's perfectly intuitive. And so the kids, there were people who expected a lot more functionality out of the Xbox controller that were older. And some of those people didn't know that they knew they could move their head, but it didn't click that they would turn around to turn the character around in the game. And the kids, for the most part, you know, as soon as they had the headset on, they were looking around and, you know, looking down at these jars, which were, you know, like almost eye level for them. The Oculus, when you lower it, actually does lower your view in the game. Yeah, this model work that Colby did, I feel like most people that made it to this room just stayed here.
Yeah.
And just looked around because it's cool. I mean, it
feels sacred.
Yeah,
it
and I
feels
mean,
like a sacred space.
It's big, and I think having like a dusty ambient lighting kind of imparts, you know, the age. And when you're in a VR, this actually has a scale that feels tangible, and it was really cool. So I'd say, yeah, if there was a highlight of this demo, it's definitely this room. By far and away.
Well, I have to say too that I think they actually tied because we thought walking through the hallway was going to be really boring.
Oh, I was so worried about
But what it actually did is it gave you this claustrophobic sense of how long and intense that whole walk is going to be until you finally get to the tomb. And so it really like sets up that experience of finding the tomb.
And you see people looking around as they're walking too. Like I saw people just walking straight, looking up, like with the camera angled up, looking at the sky or looking at the walls or such like that. I think more time I would have liked to have more, more sounds with everything, more interaction. Anything else you guys think more time wise?
Oh man, yeah, they're a laundry list. So the third question, I think we are very happy and satisfied with the project. So in terms of what we would have added for more time, I mean, for me personally, so there's this scan. If I'm going to turn it up. This guy.
Going up, this ascending passageway leads to the Queen's Chamber and back to the Grand Gallery.
So I'm going to turn it down again just so I can talk over it. That was a fun thing to script in, but I think the effects could have been much better. And also that was, the first of like 5 things that I really wanted to implement in terms of a UI. Basically, it would have been fun to give the explorer more things to do to make them a futuristic explorer-y kind of person. I think that's what I would have, if I would have had more time. Actually, I would have implemented a loading screen. That was another thing that was kind of on my plate that I just did not get to. And then after that, I probably would have maybe embellished the room scan and then added a 3D model of the map. It's just something else, more UI stuff. And then as a project, one of the larger stretch goals as a group that we wanted was AI, not Pam, but actual human characters walking around or working in the pyramid. And that we knew from the beginning was quite the stretch goal. So I'm not hugely disappointed that we didn't get to it. But it would have been really, really cool. So I think if this would have been, if this were a 2-part class and we had an entire semester to do the second part, that's when I would be like, okay, we're going to make it happen. Like,
we're going to get people and interactions and have, the AI person and someone like Pam would be a physical person that would guide you and different screens for room scans and interactions.
Yeah, Pam could have, we talked about that in the beginning too. Yeah. Like Pam could have had a body or at least a face. Like there's, so many things. And once one of the cool things about VR, I think, is that once you start thinking in terms of it being not just an environment, but really a world and a scenario, it's so easy to think about things because it's analogous to, not just the real world, but what you would want the real world to be. And so the list is endless and would grow endlessly. I think the real challenge is finding, paring back what that list is and sticking with something that is manageable.
I thought this room was really successful. Yeah, in terms of meshes and torches and lighting and the mist, and I thought that was a great room.
Yes, and
the ceiling too.
Yeah, this was just something. This was pretty cool. This was just a normal map. It's not a texture. It's a normal map with a texture on top of it, which is what most of this is. But it's not a matching. Most of the time, it's like this guy has a texture on it, but then it has a normal map that actually maps it, or that matches it. So if it's a dark color like a scratch, it's actually deeper. It really is. This up here is just a sand pattern that I made in a Photoshop guide. And then I put that on top of a normal map that was just hieroglyphics. And then that's just like the basic scene or terrain stuff that you can raise and lower with Unity. Anyways.
The lighting specifically.
Yeah, definitely. The flame, I like that.
Yeah.
Is that a sprite?
It's a point light. So this is a point light embedded in actually right behind here. The point light's actually like right here where the mouse is. Whoops, there goes Pam. This is a model that was pulled in through, I can't remember what asset packages it was, but these flames are also sprites. So there's an animation that goes through like 20 sprites and or not even that much. I think it's like 10. and then it has a shader down here to give it lighting effects and smoke effects up top.